first one says a cloud weighs around 1,000,000 tons. A cloud typically has a volume of around 100 kilometers and a density of around 1,003 kilograms per meter. That's a density that's around a 0.4% lower than the air surrounding it. This is how they are able to float. Fact number 2. Giraffes. Giraffes are 30 times more likely to get hit by lightning than people. True, there are only 5 documented fatal lightning strikes on giraffes between 1996 and 2010, but due to the population of a species just 140,000, and at this time it makes about 0.003 lightning deaths per 1,000 giraffes each year. This is 30 times the equivalent fatality rate of humans. Wow. I didn't expect that. Fact number 3. Identical twins don't have the same fingerprints. You can't blame your crimes to your twins. After all, this is because environmental factors during development in the womb, umbilical cord length, position of the womb, and the rate of finger growth affect your fingerprint. Fact number 4. Earth's rotation is changing speed. Its actual slowing. This means that on average the length of a day increases by around 1.8 seconds per century. 600 million years ago, a day lasted just 21 hours. Fact number 5. Earth lobos have no biological purpose. While they are rich in nerve endings and may play a role in social bonding, many scientists argue that ear lobos don't have any true biological purpose. Well, these facts are interesting. Fact number 6. Your brain is constantly eating itself. The process is called photolysis, where cells elevate and consume smaller cells or molecules to remove them from the system. Don't worry, photolysis isn't harmful, but actually helps preserve your gray matter. Wow, guys, the largest piece of fossil dinosaur bone discovered, it over 3 centimeters long and over 2 liters in volume, believed to be a Tyrannosaurus rex, or the fossil trunk, also named the Crapto. It's helping scientists better understand what the dinosaur ate. Also, figuring out the volume. Fact number 8. Mars isn't actually round, unlike any other rocky planet in the solar system. Mars is actually shaped like a Rubik's ball, but the different size along all 3 axes. Fact number 9. There's no such thing as zero-calorie foods. Even low-calorie foods such as celery and watercress contain more energy Fact number 17. Wearing a tie can reduce blood flow to the brain by 7.5%. A study in 2018 found that wearing a necktie can reduce the blood flow to your brain by up to 7.5%, which can make you feel dizzy, nauseous, and cause headaches. They can also increase the pressure of your eyes if too tight, and are great at carrying germs. Fact number 18. The fear for long words is called, well, that's a long word, hippopotamosquiphalia. I don't know how to say that word. The 36-letter word was first used by the Roman poetry Horace in the 1st century BCE. The crisis those writers with an unresponsible present of long words. It was American poets and Nazikiligriu, possibly afraid of their own surname, who coined in the term on how we know it in 2000. Fact number 19. The world's oldest dog lived to 29.5 years, while the medium age a dog reaches tends to be 10 to 15 years. One Australian cattle dog, Bluey, survived to the rib old age of 29.5. Wow. 29, that's like, I'll have to say, that's way more than 100 years for humans. Fact number 20. The world's oldest cat lived to 38 years and 3 days old. Cream Puff was the oldest cat to live ever. Wow. You're gonna have to do some research on this. The sun makes a sound, but we can't hear it. In it, the form of pressure waves, the sun does not make a sound. Wait, the sun does make a sound. Excuse me. The wavelength of the pressure waves from the sun is measured in hundreds of miles, however, meaning they are far beyond the range of human hearing. Wow. Fact number 22. Mount Everest isn't the tallest mountain on Earth. Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa in Hawaii, the twin volcanoes, are taller than Mount Everest, as 4.2 kilometers of their height is submerged underwater. The twin volcanoes measure a submerged staggering 10.2 kilometers in total compared to the Everest poetry, 8.2 kilometers, 8.8. Fact number 23. Our solar system has a wall, the hypopause, the region 371 times in the past 71 million years. We're overdue a flip. It could come soon, as the North Pole is moving at around 55 kilometers per year, an increase over 15 kilometers per up until 1990. And that's true because you can see all the patterns of overdue flip increases for all the kilometers moving up every second. So fact number 29, you can actually die laughing, and a number of people have typically due to intense laughter causing a heart attack or suffocation. Comedy shows how shows come with a warning. Fact number 30. Chainsaws were first invented for childbirth. It was developed in Scotland in the late 18th century to help acid and speed up the process of semiphotomy, widening the public cartilage and remove a disease-laden bone during childbirth. It wasn't until the start of the 20th century that we started using chainsaws for wood chopping. So they've been on for a long time. Fact number 31. Ants don't have lungs. They instead breathe through sparticles, 9 or 10 tiny openings depending on the species. Wow. Didn't know that. That's cool. And to be else the size for an ant to be, that's cool. You don't actually lose fact number 32. You don't actually lose most of your heat through your head. Your face, head, and chest are more sensitive to temperature changes, but this myth isn't entirely true. In reality, covering any part of the body helps prevent heat loss in the same way. And I'm actually sweating right now, but it's kind of calming down because it is pretty hot today, so sorry about that. Okay, we're heading to fact number 33. The T-Rex likely had feathers. Scientists in China discovered each Cretaceous period Tyrannosaurus skeletons that were covered in feathers. If the ancestors of the T-Rex had feathers, the T-Rex probably did too. And chickens probably were dinosaurs too, and they're still not extinct. So fact number 34. Football teams wearing red kits play better. The color of the clothes can affect how you have perceived by others and the change in how you feel. A review of football matches in the last 55 years, for example, showed the teams wearing the red kit consistently played better in home matches than teams in other color. Fact number 35. When you cut a worm into it regenerates. That said, this only works if it's cut wide ways, and not all earthworms can regrow their tails, and the planetarian flatworm can regrow its whole body from the tiny silver of tissue. Number 36. Wind turbines kill between 10,000 and 100,000 birds each year in the UK. Increasingly, painting one of the blades of a wind turbine black can reduce birth deaths by 70%. Number 37. signature correlates with higher social profile, and among women, the biggest signature correlates with the narcissistic traits. Number 41. 1 in 18 people have a third nipple, known as a polytely. The third nipple is caused by mutation in inactive genetics genes. Bananas. Number 42. Bananas are radioactive due to the rich in potassium. Every banana is actually slightly radioactive thanks to containing the natural isotope of potassium. -40 intensity tangle. There, your body contains around 16 milligrams of potassium. -40, meaning you're around 220, 280 times more radioactive than a banana already. Any excess of potassium, -40 you gain from a banana is extremely out within a few hours. Number 43. There's no such thing as a straight line. Zoom in close enough to anything and you'll spot intrusions even between a laser light beam is slightly curved. 44. Deaf people are known to use sign language in their sleep. In a case study of a 71-year-old man with reptile movement disorder with a several hearing impairment showed him using fluent language in his sleep, with the researchers able to get the idea of what he's dreaming about thanks to those signs. 45. Finland is the happiest country on earth according to the World's Happiness Resort. It has been for 6 years in a row, and it's not really surprising given that Finland is the home of Santa Claus, reindeer, and one of the stolen for every 1.59 people. Here's another one that might blow your mind. 46. Hippos can't swim. Hippos really do have big bones, so big and dense, in fact, that they're barely buoyant at all. They don't swim, instead perform a slow motion gallop of the riverbed on a sea floor. In fact, hippos can even sleep underwater thanks to built-in reflex that allows them to pop up, take a breath, and sink back without waking. Number 47. The moon looks upside down in the southern hemisphere compared to the northern hemisphere anyway. This means that the man of the moon upside down the southern hemisphere and looks more like a rabbit. 48. You can yo-yo in space. In 2012, NASA astronaut Don Pettit took a yo-yo on board the International Space Station and demonstrated several tricks. It works because a yo-yo mainly relies on the laws of conservation of angular momentum to perform tricks, which provided to keep the strength and apply the microgravity to. 49. Not only plants photosynthesis occur, which are not plants in some other organisms, including sea slugs and sleep, and aphids contain color prints, can also take sunlight and turn into an energy source. has heads. 54. Somebody has constipated for 45 days. In 2013, an unfortunate Indian woman had to undergo surgical removal for a fecal mass as large as a football. 55. You travel 2.5 million kilometers a day around the sun without realizing the Earth orbit travels around 2.5 million kilometers with respect to the sun's center, and around 19 million kilometers with respect to the center of the Milky Way. 56. Fish form only consequence emergencies. When equavilating through narrow spaces in sketchy situations, schools of neo-giant fish beyond so that they don't collide or clog up in lines. Scientists interpreted this behavior as showing that fish can respect social rules even in the emergency situations, unlike us humans. 57. There are more bacterial cells in your body than human cells. The average human is around 56% bacteria. This was discovered in a 2016 study and is far less than the earlier estimates of 90%, as bacteria are so light. However, by weight, each person is 99.7% human. 58. Most gender cats are male. There are roughly 3 gender male cats to 1 gender female. This is because the gender gene is found on the X chromosome, meaning female cats would require 2 copies of a gene to become gender whiteness. Males only need 1. 59. Your nails grow faster in hot summer. That's true. I know this one. This is probably due to increased blood supply to the fingertips. It could also be because you're less stressed while on holiday, so you're likely to yawn away at them. 60. The Bermuda Triangle is no more hazardous than any other busy ocean route. The mystery of this patch of sea gained legendary status in the 20th century, but the number of incidents of the Bermuda Triangle is significantly higher than the other part of the ocean. 61. Insects can fly up to 3.25 kilometers above the sea level. At least a plane. Bumblebees have found living up as high of 3.25 above sea level. to sink completely. To escape quicksand, sit or lie on your back. Try to move your arms up and out of the quicksand and slowly wiggle your legs side to side or back and forth. Interesting. 67. A penguin can reach depths of 500 meters in one dive. Typically, importer penguins, the deepest living penguins, plunge in 200 meters, but the deepest penguin dive on record was more than 550 meters. Wow, that's deep. 68. Animals can be allergic to humans. Animals can be allergic to our dead skin cells. Those allergic reactions can be just like ours too, including breathing difficulties and skin irritation. 69. Being bored is actually a high assorted state of physiology. This is because when you're bored, your heart rate increases. So we better go out into the park or something. Number 70. Our immune systems can detect bad bacteria from good. The immune system detects patterns through receptors and will mount an attack simultaneously to calibrate of molecules to the beneficial bacteria. 71. Platypuses. Sweet milk. This is because it doesn't have taste. It doesn't have teeth. Milk appears as sweet as a platypus, but it's an aquatic mammal, and so it doesn't actually sweat at all. 72. Lego bricks withstand comparison between the concrete. An ordinary Lego brick is able to support the weight of a 375,000 other bricks before it falls. The theoretical woodcut built a tower near 3.5 kilometers in height. Scaling up this house-sized bricks, however, would cost far too much. 73. Martial artists who smiled before the start of the match are more likely to lose. This could be a smile can convey fear of submission. 74. It's almost impossible to get too much sugar from fresh fruit, while the sugar in fruit is more likely fructose to glucose. Fructose is which converted into a fat or blood body. You can get too much sugar from fresh fruit. Fresh fruit contains a lot of fiber and water, which slows down your digestion and makes you feel full. 75. You don't like the sound of your own voice because the bones in your head. You may be because the bones in our head makes our voice sound deeper. 76. A rainbow on Venus is called a glory, appearing as a series of colored conjoined rings. These are caused by interference of light waves within droplets rather than the reflection, refraction, and dissipation of light that makes a rainbow. 77. Protons look like peanuts, rubbed by balls, paddles, and some previous protons come in different shapes and sizes with their appearance changing based on speed. Smaller particles within them, quarks. 77. 78. Mirrors facing each other don't produce the light striking them, the total number of reflections mirrors can produce a few hundred. 79. There might be the core of evil, well, a core of four. But Jones form a physiologists argue that aspects of psychopathy that be core connected to behavior therapy, which is said to produce violent offenses to those with conditional plans to reduce the computer lab to kinetic training to help with his final job experience and ability to regret to 80. All mammals get goosebumps when your hair stands on end. Tiny muscles contract each other. Airbase which distorts the skin create goosebumps. The process is called funny. It is present in all mammals. Hair or fur is used to trap the insulating hair layer. We're already in 43 minutes. So my voice, I'm gonna try my best to read them all. Football players spit so much because exercise increases the amount of protein in saliva. When you exercise, the amount of protein stretched into the saliva increases the protein muscles. Name MUC5B makes your saliva thicker when you're exercising, which it makes more difficult to swallow. We tend to spit more, and it may occur during exercise because the breath through their mouths more. MUC5B could activate to stop our mouths from drying out tearfully. 82. Some animals display osteotic-like traits. Osteotic traits in animals include a tendency toward protective behavior and articulate social habits. 83. The biggest butterfly in the world has a 332-centimeter wingspan. It belongs to the Queen Alexandra's birdwing butterfly, which you can find in the forests of Oral Province and the East Papua New Guinea. Wow. 84. You remember more dreams when you sleep badly. Research suggests if you sleep badly and wake up multiple times through the night, you will be more likely to recall and contain any of dreams you had. You are also more likely to remember a dream when woken from one. 85. You could sweat when you're anxious. To alert others, there is therapy suggests we've evolved to sweat wise and anxious to alert excitement to the brains to other people around, so we promote of whatever for it's making us anxious. Brain scans have revealed when you sniff and sweat that panic-induced person regions of the panic can handle emotional social signals light up when you're anxious, unconscious, and the sympathetic nervous system releases hormones including adrenaline, which activates your sweat glands. 86. A lightning bolt is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. The charge carried by a bolt of lightning is so intense that it has a temperature of 30,000 C or 54,000 Fahrenheit. 87. The longest anyone has held their breath underwater is over 24.5 minutes. The world record for breath holding underwater was achieved by Croatian guys know that the moon is shrinking, but only very slightly by about 50 meters, 164 feet in radius. Over the last several hundred million years, mysteriously substance actively known as moon quakes could be to blame. 89, 89, 89, 89. Dog tilt their heads when you speak to them to better pinpoint familiar words. Your dog is tilting its head when you speak to it. Pinpoint where noises are coming from more quickly. This is done to listen to a more accurately for familiar words such as walkies to help them better understand the tone of your voice. If a dog doesn't tilt its head often as those shorter muscle right, it's because it releases less on sound and more on sight. 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. If the earth doubled in size, trees would immediately fall over. Yes, that's true. This is because surface gravity would be more doubled. It could be also dog size, and larger animals would not be able to run without breaking a leg. 91. Mercury. Not Venus. It's the closest planet to Earth. On average, Mercury is 1.04 astronomical units AU away from Earth compared to the 1.14 AU average distance between Earth and Venus. Venus 1 AU is equal to the average distance between Earth and the Sun. Venus still comes closest to the Earth as part of the orbit around the Sun, however. 92, 92. Flamingos are the born pink. They actually come into the world with gray and white feathers. They only develop a pinkish hue after starting a diet or of brine shrimp and blue-green algae. 93. You can smell ants. Many species of ants release strong smelling chemicals when they are angry, threatening, or being squished. Trapjaw ants release a chocolatey smell when annoyed, and Dakota ants earn their name from lemonade accord and they gave off. People who eat whatever they want and stay slim, a slow metabolism, not fast. A skinny person tends to have less muscle mass than others, meaning their physical metabolic rate BMR is lower than those of a high muscle mass. This gives them a slow metabolism in that fast. 95. There's a scientist who willingly lets insects sting him to find out which one hurts the most. Justin Cutman turned his own body into a research tool to create the Scotland pain scale and discovered in South America bullet ant delivers the most exasperating sting of all, describing it as being a shot. And shots do hurt, but a fire ant, bullet ant sting, painful. 96. Earth is 4.54 billion years old. Using radiometric dating, scientists have discovered that the Earth is 4.54 billion years old, or give or 50 million years old. This makes our planet half the age of Milky Way galaxy, 11 to 13 billion years old, and around third of the age of the universe, 7. It's actually fine to drink alcohol on most antibiotics. It's unlikely that drinking alcohol in moderation will cause a big problem if you're taking a common antibiotic, although there is exceptions, particularly to mediodosing. 98. Electrons might live forever. Scientists have estimated the minimum lifetime of electrons is about 6.6 times 1028 years. This is 66,000 years, since it's about 5 quintillion times the age of the universe. Even if electrons don't live forever, they might as well do. Wow. 99. Beavers don't actually live in dams. Technically, beavers live in a log that would they built behind a dam within a deep pool of river. Beavers. Sorry about that. Sorry. So, 100. The average dinosaur lifespan was surprisingly small. The Tyrannosaurus rex, for an example, reached full size between 16 to 22 years old and lived up to 27 and 33. The largest dinosaurs, such as a Brontosaurus and a Diceratops, tended to live up to 39 to 53 years old, maybe reaching the heights of 70. Someone left a family photo on the moon when Apollo 16 astronaut Charles Dark landed in the moon in 1972. He decided to leave behind a photo of him and his 2 sons and his wife. The photo remained on the moon on this day. The photo remains on the moon to this day. Wow. 102. It rains Mexican on Saturn's largest moon. Titan is the only moon in our solar system with a dense atmosphere and only body except Earth from liquid rivers, lakes, and sea fed by rainfall. The rainfall isn't water though, it's liquid methane. 103. Giraffes to communicate with each other. It's though that the slow wrinkling humming could be a form of contact human between individuals who can have been separated from their herd, helping them to find each other in the dark. Some researchers think they sleep talk too. 104. Glass sponges can live for 15,000 years. This makes them one of the longest living organisms on Earth. The immortal jellyfish, however, could perfectly live forever, but scientists aren't sure. 105. You have a 50% chance of sharing a birthday with a friend. In any group of 23, 2 people will share a birthday according to maths to find the probability of everyone in the group of having a unique birthday. Multiply all 23 probabilities together, giving a 0.491, or a probability of the shared birthday is 1 minus 0.493 equal to 0.507, or 50.7%. Next one. 106. Murder rates rise in summer. Ever feel angry or in a bad mood when the weather is hot? Well, you're not alone. Violent crimes goes up in hotter weather. And in the US, murder rates reportedly rise by 2.7% isn't actually um, sea level isn't actually leveled, as the strength of the force generated by the Earth's spin is the largest at the equator. The average sea level plunges outward to putting it farther to the center and putting it at the end of the different strain on the Earth's gravity at different points also causes variation. 109. Inhale 50 potentially harmful bacteria. Every time you breathe, thankfully the immune system is working hard all the time, so particularly all those are probably destroyed without you feeling a thing. 110. You can see stars as they're 4,000 years old with the naked eye. Without a telescope, all the stars we can see lie within 4,000 light years of US. That means at most you're seeing the stars that were 4,000 years ago, around when pyramids were being built in Egypt. Wow, that's insane. 111. Plants came before seeds. According to the fossils record, early plants resemble moss and reproduce with single cause spores. Particularly seeds didn't evolve for other 150 million years. 112. Our dead cells are eaten by other cells in our body. Don't worry, it meant to happen. When cells inside your body die, your scavenge phytase, white blood cells whose job as to digest other cells. 113. Smells can pass through a liquid. Please don't try smelling underwater. Your nose will not appreciate it, but the smell does protrude through liquid. 114. Bats aren't blind despite the famous idol. Bats can indeed see, but they still use their even more famous echolocation to find prey. 115. Hibernation. Animals don't dream. Sleep is a more psychological active state if hibernation, which requires animals to subclassically reduce all activities to conserve energy. That's simply not enough brain activity while the animal is hibernating to enable dreaming. The only exception is the rule is the fat-tail lammer. 160. Pine trees can tell if it's about to rain. Next time you see a pine cone, take a closer look. If it's close, that's because the air is which can indicate rain is on its way. That's and I actually have a pine tree. I have like a pine tree smell right here. So but these are like for a smell, so and these smell good, so they keep the room smelling fresh, like nature. Interesting. 117. You can't fold a piece of A4 paper more than 8 times, as the number of layers doubles each time the paper rapidly gets too thick and smell to fold. The current world paper folding record belongs to California high school student Brittany Calvi, who in 2002 managed to fold a 1.2 kilometer long piece of tissue paper 12 times. Wow, that's very cool. 118. The sharpest teeth in history didn't belong to sharks or even dinosaurs. They came from gododons, tiny eel-like creatures. My bad. That lived 500 to 200 million years old. Their tooth tips were just 2 micrometers wide, like a 1.5/20th the width of the human hair, making them the sharpest teeth measured. that just, you don't even, that thing flies by fast, and you feel the air like seconds later, and that thing's already far away. That's cool. The fastest jet is the NASA's X